Whether the team is giving us the highest of highs or the bluest of blues, we'll cover it all here on Commanders Nightly News. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, one of the viewers of the program, Charlie Malloy, hit me up like 2 days ago, I think after episode 15.2, and he left a comment pretty much saying that he saw somewhere that Snyder had moved forward with the selling process. And I was like, get out of here, Charlie. I haven't seen, like, that's massive news. If that were the case, we would have read an article or we would have had a headline somewhere with that being stated. Like, that's not something that just kind of gets brushed under the rug or gets caught up in the, 6 o'clock news wave. Not like that's a headline. Whenever that happens, whether it's at 11:48 in the morning or 1:15 in the afternoon or 6:27 in the evening, once someone gets wind of that, that's the first thing you see on Bleacher Report when it comes to Washington. That's the first thing you're going to see on NFL .com, whatever the case may be. It's a big story. ESPN's going to have it.com and on their app. I hadn't seen it anywhere. So I was like, what is Charlie talking about? Then Charlie doubled down on that and he put it in the comment section of the 15.3 live stream we did last night. I was like, Charlie is like, where are you getting this information from, Charlie? Well, Charlie was on it, okay? Charlie was all over this 2 days ago. So apparently, Bank of America has continued on and moved to the next part of the process, the selling process, on behalf of Daniel Snyder, in which they put together a prospectus where they're going to start soliciting potential buyers, people that they feel like are in a position to maybe afford the football team. So obviously, you've got 6 or 7 potential buyers who were interested in the Broncos, who lost out to the Walmart heir, Sam Walton, and so they're going to be on the list. It's a short list. Obviously, the Broncos heir in a group paid $4.5 billion. So if the Broncos are going for that, you can only imagine what this team's going to sell for. I think Forbes evaluated it at 5.6. There's no way he's getting less than $6 billion for this franchise. Could be upwards of, 6.5, depending on if you get into a bidding war and you have others that are really interested and willing to go that high. But the prevailing thought is if, Amazon mogul, Jeff Bezos, I always forget his damn name. If Amazon mogul Jeff Bezos and Jay-Z are really, truly interested in buying this team, no one's going to be able to compete with the kind of money that those two can put up, especially Bezos just by himself. But you add Jay-Z into the equation, no one is touching those two guys. So at the end of the day, if Bezos wants it, it's his, really. His, and him and Jay-Z's organization to essentially lose. If they don't want it, then somebody else will be in line. But this thing may really be happening. I started to get second thoughts. Like, I started thinking maybe Snyder's getting cold feet. Maybe he was playing us the entire time. Like, haven't heard anything. But this, moving on to the next step of the process is further confirmation that this is a real thing, that this is probably going to happen. I'm still somewhat in denial until he actually sells. I keep waiting for him to, say, I got you, dumbasses. I'm not selling a damn thing. You guys thought I was selling. And then Irsay kind of walked back his comments. I don't know if you saw what he had to say, but he kind of walked back his comments. He wasn't as stern and as aggressive with his tone. He wasn't as demonstrative in his pursuit of getting, Snyder out of there. He was more like, hey, I want to talk to my constituents, kind of see how everybody else feels. We need more information. I don't want to hear that shit. I just want him gone at this point. I think I speak for everyone. Normally I don't like speaking for anybody else. I know I can speak for the masses when I say I don't give a shit about more information. I don't care how many more, reports need to come out, what the findings are of these reports. We want this dude gone, and we wanted him gone 10 years ago, okay? We want this guy gone, okay? So I don't need more information. I don't need any more reports. I don't need any more investigations to be done. I just want him to sell, period. So this is another step in that direction with Bank of America moving forward to the next step in the process, putting together a prospectus kind of giving potential buyers an idea of what they can expect throughout this process, what the baseline number looks like, and where the start will be in terms of the bidding, and then you go from there. But this is great news. If you are looking for Snyder to sell this offseason, this is tremendous news, and this is what we needed to hear. Okay, we needed to hear this because it was too damn quiet for me. All right, too damn quiet for me. Normally, the saying is, a wise woman once told me, no news is good news. Well, in this case, I need more news. Okay, the more, the merrier. So this is great news as we head into Christmas. This is an early Christmas gift of sorts. This is more of a stocking stuffer. This isn't a gift. A gift is him selling the damn team. All right. This is more of a stocking stuffer. We'll take it. Okay. Not turning down anything in the stocking or under the tree. I'll take the stocking stuffer, but we need to continue this process moving forward and get him the hell out of here. So big news today. But again, remember, we got an important game on Sunday. This is interesting. That is important, which is why we move on to in other news. So Thursday's practice provided a ton of clarity, and I told you that it would, because yesterday I told you that was the most ambiguous injury report Washington has had all season long. You really didn't know what to make of it. 10 guys were listed as limited, and so Wednesdays are always that way. You know, if I've always told you guys, if there's ever a day where a guy can be limited or DNP, it's Wednesday. Thursday is the day you really start to determine if a guy's going to be able to go on Saturday or Sunday or not. And so this was the big day that I was looking for, and I got the clarity that I was looking for the most part. There's still one guy in particular, and you'll see exactly who I'm talking about as soon as you see the report. But there's one guy in particular that we're still kind of on the fence about, don't really know what we're going to get. But for the most part, I think we feel pretty good about what this report says. And Friday hopefully confirms what we already think, which is a lot of these guys are going to be able to go. Let's take a look at the injury report. So Antonio Gibson foot. So Scott Turner and Jack Del Rio stepped to the podium today, as they always do on Thursday. And, you know, just to let you know and make you, put you at ease, Scott Turner said, both of the running backs are dealing with the bumps and bruises that come along with the position. Both of those guys are fine. There's nothing to be concerned about. They're both playing. So we don't even really need to concern ourselves with Brian Robinson Jr. or Antonio Gibson. I knew Gibby was playing because he was dealing with the same foot prior to the bye, didn't miss any games. And again, Brian Robinson Jr., a rookie, I get it. Didn't play in the first 5 games of the season or 4 games of the season. So that whole notion of, he's a rookie. This is the rookie wall that they hit when they get past that 13-game mark. They're not used to playing that many games in a college season. He didn't play in the other 4 games, so he hasn't hit that wall. This is just the wear and tear that comes with the position, and so he's going to be fine. So Gibson's foot limited. Don't worry about him. Dax Milne, his foot injury seems to be healing nicely. He was full today after being limited yesterday. That's a good sign that he'll be able to go on Sunday. Andrew Norwell limited. I'm not worried about him with the shoulder. I expect him to play. Same thing for Brian Robinson in the quad. I just told you there's nothing to really be concerned about there. Cam Sims back limited. That is something that we need to keep an eye on. Don't really know the status there, but anytime I hear of a back issue, I'm always a bit concerned. James Smith-Williams concussion, full go today. That's great news. That means he's going to play. Anytime you get to a full status with a concussion, you're trending in the right direction. Obviously, he could regress tomorrow, but the likelihood is he's not going to. I feel pretty good about J.S. Dub playing on Sunday. Benjamin St-Juste, this is the one. This is the one that we still haven't gotten the clarity that we were looking for. I was hoping to show up today and get a full. We got another limited. Doesn't mean he's not playing. It just doesn't mean he is playing. So, again, still kind of up in the air with Juice as far as his availability for Sunday. Again, I've already said this, and I'll double down on it. If there were ever a game or a team that we could play this season, again, Falcons were another one, but the Giants in particular in this division, that we could get away with him not playing, it'd be the Giants. They don't have a lot at receiver. Like, you should be able to get by with, Danny Johnson and Kendall Fuller at corner if need be for one more week while Juice continues to mend. I hope he's ready to go. But again, I said this yesterday. If you asked me which would I rather have, Juice this week and he could potentially play the rest of the season injury-free, but there's no guarantee. Or he could sit out this week, and I guarantee you he will play the rest of the season. All right, sit out this week. I know it's a big game. It's the most important game we've had in quite some time, but I feel that confident in our ability to still play quality defense without him against the team that we're playing. Now, any other team on the schedule, and I'd say I'll take my chances. Let's get him in the lineup, get him suited and booted, and let's go. But this game against the Giants, and not to shit on the Giants, I'm just giving you facts. They don't have any receivers. So feel confident that even if he can't go, we'll be fine, but I'd much rather have him out there. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. Montez Sweat with the concussion, similar to James Smith-Williams, full, feeling great. We're going to have our full complement of defensive ends in this game for the first time all season long because I think Chase Young's going to play this week. But again, we will see. Trey Turner, full with the knee. That is great news. Great news because that means we're going to have a full complement of offensive linemen as well. Obviously, not going to have Tyler Larson for the remainder of the season. That sucks. But we've already talked about this yesterday. They're going to go with Wes Schweitzer at center. So you want your full complement of guards. Cosme was a full go yesterday in practice. He's a full go again today. So we're not worried about his ankle. But they're going to stick Trey Turner back in. I don't have a problem with that. While Cosme continues to heal, you stick Trey Turner in there. If anything goes awry with Turner, you got Cosme to stick in there, and you don't have to play musical chairs up front. Wes Schweitzer can just stay at center. So we're in a really good spot. Hopefully those guys don't incur any new injuries, and they are able to continue to progress moving forward. Chase Young limited with the knee. All bets are off there. We don't know what we're going to get. I think he's going to play this week. But again, I've been telling you that for over a month and a half, and I've been wrong every time. So what do I know? Sam Cosme, ankle full. I have no worries there. Jamin Davis, thumb full. I never worried there. And then a new entry to the list, Sadiq Charles with a concussion, DNP. That probably means he sustained the concussion yesterday at practice, which means he's probably not going to play this week and may not even play next week. We will see. But that's a great injury report. If you're a Washington Commanders fan, that's as good as it's going to get. I mean, pretty much everybody's full. And the ones that are limited, you can take the two backs off of there. Norwell's going to play. Cam Sims, Benjamin St. Juste, and Chase Young are the only three that I'm really concerned about, if we're being honest. So feel really good about this injury report as we switch gears and go to the Giants. Josh Azudu, neck, rookie offensive lineman, not going to play in this game. That's what these first 2 days are pretty much telling me. Now, he could be limited tomorrow and give it a go. I don't think that's going to be the case. Same with Adoree Jackson and his knee. I told you guys when we played them the first time, we're not going to see Adoree Jackson this season. Not against us. He may be back next week against Minnesota. He may be back the week thereafter, but he won't play against us. He's out with the knee injury. Richie James, concussion. I didn't think he was going to play. After seeing the DNP on Wednesday, he comes back, he's limited. That means he's probably going to be able to give it a go. We'll see. But the likelihood is he's trending in the right direction. I was looking forward to him not playing, but he may be able to give it a go. Dexter Lawrence, no need to mention him. Shane Lemieux, toe. That's another offensive lineman, and they lack depth already up front. If he can't go, and it doesn't seem like he's trending in the right direction, that's another huge loss for them up front, just from a depth perspective. Don't need to mention Julian Love. Jihad Ward, I was really hoping he wouldn't be able to go. Not that he's a massive impact player, but he's a good football player, and he's a big part of what they do up front defensively. And when he didn't practice on Wednesday, I was like, uh-oh, maybe him and Richie James could be out. Nah, both of them look like they're going to play. He was limited today. We'll see where it goes tomorrow. Daniel Bellinger, limited with the rib. We'll see what happens with him moving forward. Nick McLeod was downgraded to out this on Thursday. He was limited Wednesday, so that's something to keep an eye on. He's a piece that they like to use in that secondary. Ellerson Smith, limited with the Achilles. Leonard Williams is the next big one with the neck, limited again. I think he's going to give it a go, but I don't know how effective he will be or how long he'll be able to play, but I think he's going to be out there. This is a huge game for them. Just like it is for us, it's a massive game for them as well. So I think he's going to give it a go. Michael McFadden full yesterday and today. So we heard from the two coordinators, and typical Jack Del Rio stuff. They asked him a bunch of questions that he wasn't comfortable giving them answers to, and he said, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not really going to get into that, game plan specific stuff. They asked him, how do you want to use a spy? He's like, I'm not telling you that. Like, come on, man. Y'all know me better than that. I'm not telling y'all that shit. So it was a lot of that going back and forth. They asked him for a brief synopsis of why they liked Benjamin St-Juste and Derek Forrest coming out of college, and he was able to recollect that, which was impressive because, as a coach, you got so many players and you've been doing this for such a long time. It's easy to just kind of forget, but these are current guys, and they weren't that long ago, right? I mean, this is the second year of Derek Forrest, and this is the second year of Benjamin St-Juste, so it wasn't that long ago that those guys were drafted, but he was able to run back in his mind exactly why he liked, and what he said matched up with what I had, especially with Juice, not necessarily with Forrest, because I don't know Luke Fickell. I wasn't able to talk to him and gather that he was a program-changing type of player, was Derek Forrest for Cincinnati's program, which we can see. Like, Derek Forrest is a great locker room dude. If you haven't been able to tell that, I can tell you. He's a great locker room dude. He's a glue guy, and he's a hell of an athlete, and he's a much better tackler in space than I gave him credit for, because that was one of the things that I didn't love with him on tape. And Jack Del Rio kind of said, when we drafted him, at worst, we were getting a glue locker room guy that we knew would come in and help, on special teams, and we felt like we could rely on. Similar to DeShazer Everett. They felt like they were getting, at a bare minimum, another DeShazer Everett. What they didn't necessarily bargain for was that he was going to come in and be such a force for them, which he's been this season. And I know it's been a pleasant surprise for them. And with Juice, he was like short area, quickness, and length. Those were the two things that stuck out for me. I told you I was scared of his long distance speed, and he didn't have any interceptions and a bunch of knockaways, because that's where the short area quickness and the length come into play. Anything underneath, he's all over it because he's so quick and he's so long. So he's able to, be right there at the point of catch. As you get vertical, that's where I thought he struggled, because he was playing a lot of press man and guys were able to get behind him a bit. But we haven't seen that because they've done a great job of having him, stay over the top of receivers, and he's been in pretty much great position for the vast majority of his career. There's only been a handful of times that guys have gotten behind him. But those have been two massive draft picks, from that 2021 class. So we're hoping to continue to get success out of these draft picks. This year's draft class is shaping up to be nice as well. And so all of these young guys, that's the thing Ron has been talking about. All these young guys are contributing, and that has to make you excited for the future, not just this year, but into the future. We've got a lot of young guys that are contributing on this football team in a major way, which is good for the longevity of this team remaining good. Again, all of that hinges upon finding the answer at quarterback. But in the meantime, continuing to get the young guys to contribute is always key. Scott Turner talked for quite a bit. I mean, his went 16 minutes, which is very long for a coordinator. Talked about Curtis Samuel's importance, and what he's he talked about the excitement he gets in trying to game plan ways to get Curtis involved. And he's like, I don't want to kill the guy. I mean, I don't want to put him in, get him the ball every single play. And then you got Terry and you got Jahan and other guys you want to get involved, but it's a lot of fun having Curtis and finding ways to get him involved. He talked about Jahan's, game last time, but more importantly, just him continuing to work his way back from that injury. And he talked about, the distribution of the football, essentially. Like, look, we run it a ton. So there are going to be games where you want to get everybody involved, but it just doesn't happen the way that you would like it to. But, coverage also dictates how you're able to get the football to these players. And, it is what it is. And so he's like, some of Jahan not being involved may have come from the fact that Taylor just wasn't comfortable. And, I don't think we make enough of being comfortable with the guy. I say this because there are times where Taylor forces it to Terry when I'm like, dude, you really don't need to force it to Terry right here. You got other guys open. But he's staring Terry down. He's more comfortable throwing it to Terry, and he trusts that Terry's going to make a play for him, so he does. And while we don't mind, especially because Terry usually comes through for us, you could be, turning down an opportunity for a 57-yard touchdown to throw a 18-yard dig route. And so I think as you get more and more comfortable with guys and knowing what they're capable of and seeing that they'll come through for you, you become more and more likely to throw them the football. And I think he's getting to that point with Jahan Dotson because, remember, he didn't practice with him all summer because Dotson was a starter and Taylor was a backup. And then when Taylor was inserted, Dotson was already out of the lineup. So he's never really gotten an opportunity to practice, to throw to him, to even get into any kind of rhythm or sync with him. So now I think they're kind of doing this on the fly, so to speak. And so I think you're going to see more of Jahan getting comfortable and acclimated into this offense because you could tell Carson and Jahan had a bit of a rapport with one another because they had been working together all offseason. You're starting to see Heineke get into a rhythm with him, and that's kind of what Scott Turner was referring to. He talked about, the run game and the lack of explosive plays in the run game, and he said he'd like to see it be a little bit more explosive, but, there are varying factors and degrees of why things don't work. And I talk about this on the film breakdowns all the time. There's a missed block here. A guy doesn't get to the second level there. And then sometimes, BYOB, you got to be your own blocker as a running back. You can't block everybody. You got to make somebody miss. If they come with a shoestring tackle, you've got to be able to stay on your feet. And there are so many times where, all Antonio Gibson has to do is break that last tackle and he's gone, and he never does. That guy grabs his foot and Gibson goes down. Whereas Robinson run throughs the arm tackle, but he's such a physical runner that he breaks 2 or 3 tackles, but it allows guys to come from the other side of the field or a little bit further away to get into the play now. And so it's just tough. It'd be great if we could put Gibson and Robinson in the same body, but we don't. Like, you watch the Seahawks rookie running back, Kenneth Walker, and you watch what Breece Hall was doing for the Jets. They're just different animals because they've got the ability to turn the corner, make a guy miss, contact balance, and take it the distance. And both of our guys have different skill sets, but you're not getting that last defender to miss. Robinson really doesn't have the speed anyway to take advantage of an opportunity. He'll hit a bunch of singles and doubles. There'll be the occasional triple. I don't see Brian Robinson hitting any home runs. Okay. And Gibson has the ability to hit the home run, the occasional triple, and a bunch of doubles, but you want to see the home run, and you just got to make that guy miss. But it's not just that. The guys up front have to do a better job. The tight ends have to be better. The linemen have to be better. And so it's all receivers have to be better down the field. And I actually think our receivers have done a great job blocking this year, but that's nor here nor there. Bottom line is you'd like to see more explosive plays in the run game, but Scott Turner said, credit to the offensive line for continuing to just be physical up front, which is, I have to give them credit for that as well. Because I called them a finesse offensive line, and they've been really physical this year, not moving guys off the spot, not creating a new line of scrimmage, but just leaning on guys play after play after play. They've done a really solid job of at least doing that. Both coordinators kind of said the same thing. Look, they know us, we know them. All right. There are no secrets here. There's no magical potion or no trick play here or there that's going to turn the top. Like, we know what they want to do. They know what we want to do. It's all about who's going to out-execute who. And, there may be an opportunity here or there for us to do something that they did the last time to us that we can counter this time or use against them. But at the end of the day, we just got to go out and play. And that takes me to our next segment, and it's behind enemy lines. And I really don't have a lot for you tonight. Like, there's no magical potion. There's no elixir, or there's nothing that I have to tell you that you don't already know. I just want to give you a few stats from the last time we played them, because to me, this is what it's going to come down to. My guy, King of the North, I read you his comments and what he had to say, and he made valid points. The way we play is going to keep a team like New York in the game. We're 4.5-point favorites. I don't think there's been a game this season where we've been favored by this many points. Not even Jacksonville week 1, where we favored by 4.5 points. I think that was a 3-point favor for Washington. I think they were laying 3 points in that game. We are laying 4.5. Like, we don't do that. we don't do that. So Vegas is telling you they expect us to win. I expect us to win. Here's why I expect us to win, and here's how we're going to get it done. So the last time we played them, we were 3 of 14 on third downs. You got to be better on third downs. The games where we've had our best offensive afternoons, we've been efficient on third down. And I'm not looking for, 7 of 11. That'd be great. But I know that's not realistic. That's not who we are. Okay, we had the out-of-body experience against Philadelphia where we just were chewing up yards. They couldn't stop us on the ground. And so we ended up in a bunch of 3rd and 1s and 2s, and we kept converting, and they couldn't stop us. But for the most part this season, this is who we've been. 3 of 14, 2 of 11, 3 of 12. That's what we've been on third down. We have to be better. The Giants were 4 of 13. We need to keep them in that realm on third downs. But offensively, we need to be better on third downs. We were not good. And that's a byproduct, I really feel, of the Giants blitzing us. And I didn't think we were as prepared for the Giants blitz as we should have been, personally. That's how I felt. We knew they were coming. And they didn't always come with 6 or 7. Sometimes it was 5, and they made it look like 6 or 7 were coming, but it was just 5. But, they made it look like they were going to come with the house, and we panicked, and we didn't pick it up as good. And inside, they really got pressure. We need to be better this time around. We were 1 of 1 on 4th down. Obviously, the Heineke 4th down, 4th and 4 conversion, massive in that game. But we outgained them by almost 100 yards, by 95 yards, 411 to 316. We need to duplicate that. I think we can do that. I really see us being able to dominate them like we did last time. We just need to dominate them where it matters most, which is the scoreboard. Passing yards, we had 246. They had 182. We need to keep that, that discrepancy right there. If we can extend it out, great. And sacks bring down your ultimate passing total. We got sacked 5 times in the last game for 29 yards. That can't happen again. They can't sack us 5 times. We sacked them 4 times, which is what you want to do. We are capable of that. The Giants aren't a high sack team. I laid that out for you the last time. They were one of the worst sack teams in football, and we gave up 5 sacks. We're one of the better sack teams, and we only had 4. 4 is not a bad number. But they can't sack Taylor Heineke more than we sacked Daniel Jones, is essentially what I'm trying to say. The rushing yards, too close. We had 165. They had 134. We know what they did in the first half against us. We kind of shut it down in the second half. We need to start faster stopping the run this game. We cannot allow the Giants to get into a rhythm running the football. And we need to continue to pound the rock like we did the last time. 165 is a good number for us. We averaged 4.6. They averaged 4.5. That's too much of an average for them. 4.6 is good for us. 4.5, too many yards for the Giants. But this is the biggest area. These two, and I talk about this all the time. When I talk about outcomes of football games, these are the 2 stats that I always reference. Red zone efficiency. We were 1 of 2. You score 1 more touchdown, you win the game. We had a chance. Logan Thomas opened on the first possession of the game. Taylor Heineke missed him. Can't happen. Penalties. And the Giants were 2 of 3. And honestly, they should not have gotten one of their opportunities. We fumbled and we gave it to them at the 20. And they scored a touchdown 2-3 plays later. That shouldn't happen. Daniel Jones had a 7-yard run in the red zone on 1 possession and to keep a drive alive. That can't happen. He had a 7-yard run, 8-yard run on the 3rd and 4 where they just decided student body left. That can't happen. We have to be better on third down on the ground. They were 2 of 3. We can't allow them to get into the red. They shouldn't be in the red zone 3 times. That's too many. Penalties. This was a big one for us in this game. 7 penalties, 55 yards. That's what we had in the game. That's too many. Now, some of those we thought weren't great calls by the officials. It doesn't matter. We got to be better in the penalty department. And there were some penalties that were definitely penalties, and they hurt us. The tight ends were not good enough last game. We have to get a better performance out of them. Giants were 4 of 34 in terms of penalties, and then we each turned it over once. I'd like to be clean, but we know that's just not what Taylor Heineke does. He's going to turn it over at some point. You'd like him not to, but I've come to the realization mentally every game with him at quarterback, we're going to turn it over once. Just leave it at 1 and just be done with it. And don't have it be a back-breaking one. There's never a good time for a turnover, really. If I had to turn it over and I knew I had to turn it over, Hail Mary before halftime. That's when I would be okay with the turnover. But time of possession, 41 to the Giants, 29. That's what we do. We lead the league in time of possession. That's not a surprise. We just need to do it again. So there's nothing that I can tell you that, again, there's no magic potion here. Do the same thing we did to them last time, except don't turn it over and give them an opportunity for an easy touchdown. and stop penalizing yourself and hurting drives and killing drives and score touchdowns. It's really not hard. We don't need to do much different except start faster defensively. Okay? That's it. The second quarter was dreadful for us. Take away the second quarter, and we dominated the Giants in this game. Truly, we did. Be better, be more efficient, be more effective, and eliminate the mistakes, the penalties, the turnovers, and I don't see how we lose this football game. We're better than them. These numbers state that. You watch the game. We're better than them. We had these massive drives. I mean, I can run over these drives real quick, and they didn't amount to anything. I talked about this during the film breakdown, so I'm not going to get into it extensively, but 10-play, 45-yard drive ended in a field goal. Should have been a touchdown. That's the Logan Thomas opening drive. 8 plays, 62 yards, 4 minutes, touchdown. Now we're up 10-0. Then you had a 12-play, 51-yard, 6-minute drive, led to a field goal. Need to finish that drive off with the touchdown. Then you have an 11-play, 38-yard, 11 plays to go 38 yards. It took 8 minutes to go 38 yards because of the penalties, right? You back up and you end up punting. 8-minute drive, no points. You have a 12-play, 40-yard, 6-minute drop. That's 14 minutes of clock. That's a full quarter of football, and we got no points. Missed field goal. Like, you can't do that. That's how we lost the last game right there. I just gave you how it happened. We dominated time of possession. We dominated when we had the football, and we didn't come away with enough points. You eliminate that, you're going to win the football game. I don't see how we don't. So, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of Commanders Nightly News. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys tomorrow. For those of you who are interested, you should be interested. 49ers and Seahawks are playing tonight, Thursday Night Football. Both are chasing after a playoff spot. The 49ers are going to be the winners of the NFC West. You should be more concerned with Seattle and what they're doing, although I think Seattle is for somebody else. I keep trying to distance myself from the 7th seed. Seattle's chasing after the 7. I have no interest in 7. I'm either 6th or 5th, okay? Because I think Minnesota is going to ultimately end up in that 3 hole. That's who I'm interested in playing. So I'm not interested in 7 anymore. Okay, I don't think Minnesota's going to finish with the 2nd best record in the NFC. I think they're going to finish with the 3rd best. But that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is, if Seattle loses, that's better for us, right? But if they win, I don't care. They don't affect me at all, because if we take care of business, we're going to be in the playoffs. And we're going to be in the playoffs. I can't state that enough. So tonight, this game will have interest. If you're a Washington fan, I look forward to chopping up to anybody that's interested. After the game, you know where to find me. Overtime, we'll talk about how the outcome came to be. Until then, I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll give you my predictions, keys to game, victory, and the prediction. But you know the keys to victory. I mean, I kind of just laid them out for you. I mean, I'll give you that. I'll give you the score and more. Looking for yours as well. We'll give away those tickets tomorrow. For those of you, again, yesterday's show, the live stream, episode 15.3, hashtag must win. If you're interested, again, you have to be a member of the mob or a member of Patreon. I see a lot of people using the hashtag that aren't a member of anything. Okay. You can do that if you like, but you're not getting the tickets. Okay. So understand that this is my gift to those that support. So remember, understand, you got to be one of those in order to get the tickets. Okay. So anyway, I digress. Get out of here. I'll see you next time. You guys have a good one.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap. Hand to Riggins. Good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20.